There's a strange moment that happens at night now. You finish scrolling, not because you're tired, not because you found what you were looking for, just because your brain quietly gives up. And suddenly the room feels real again. The fan humming, the unfinished drink on the desk, that one notification you ignored all day. Your own thoughts finally catching up to you like footsteps in an empty parking garage. I think modern loneliness feels different than it used to. People used to describe loneliness as isolation. Now it feels more like overexposure. Too many voices, too many opinions, too many windows open, too many people performing versions of themselves under soft lighting and algorithmic approval. And somewhere inside all of it, people are quietly wondering, why do I still feel disconnected? I don't think the internet made us less human. I think it just removed silence. And without silence, it's hard to hear your actual life. The other night, I was sitting in a tiny noodle shop off a side street around midnight. Nothing aesthetic about it. Fluorescent light, half-broken menu board. The cook looked exhausted in a deeply human way. Three people sat inside, one guy watching football highlights alone, a couple barely talking while sharing dumplings, and me pretending not to check my phone every 40 seconds. At one point, the owner turned off the restaurant music because nobody was really listening anyway. And for maybe 30 seconds, the entire place became honest. Just bowls clinking, traffic outside, a tired cook wiping the same counter twice, people existing without broadcasting it. That silence felt more comforting than anything I'd seen online all week. I think we underestimate how much modern life keeps us slightly detached from ourselves. Not dramatically, just enough. Enough to avoid difficult thoughts, enough to postpone grief, enough to keep refreshing instead of reflecting. The scary part is constant stimulation can start feeling like personality. You stop asking yourself what you actually enjoy. You just consume what keeps your attention alive for another 10 seconds. And eventually your inner life starts sounding like autoplay. That's why long walks matter now. That's why cooking a simple meal matters. Why sitting in a cafe without headphone matters. Why conversation at 2 a.m. sometimes feels spiritually important. They interrupt the performance, they return you to yourself. I don't think mindfulness has to look like mountain retreats or expensive wellness apps. Sometimes mindfulness is just noticing you haven't had an uninterrupted thought in 3 days. Sometimes it's deleting one app, sometimes it's eating slowly, sometimes it's calling somebody instead of reacting to their story. Sometimes sitting in your parked car after work for 5 extra minutes because that's the only silence you had all day. And honestly, I think a lot of people are exhausted in ways sleep can fix. Not physically, digitally, emotionally, existentially. Too much input, not enough meaning. But I also think people are hungry for real things again. Real meals, real conversation, real attention, real pauses. Not optimized experiences, not content, just moments that actually land. Maybe that's what LifeFlow Nexus is supposed to be. Not advice, not productivity, not some polished self improvement machine, just a place to notice things together. The emotional weather of modern life. Anyway, if you're listening to this late at night somewhere from a bus window, a dim apartment, an airport gate, or while reheating leftovers you forgot about earlier, I hope you remember something. You do not need to constantly Reinvent yourself to deserve your own life. Sometime existing honestly for one quiet evening is enough. And maybe that's where we start. See you next episode.